Preston and his childhood gal pal are the real thrill seekers in this town. Because of a stupid dare, the two of them threw a full-blown wedding on my family's private island. I walked up to confront them. Preston just flashed that lazy grin and said, "It's only a game penalty, babe. We had to stage a ceremony, don't make it a federal case." Leah, radiant in a borrowed wedding gown, slid her arm through his and batted her lashes. "What's with the face, Cecilia? You show up to a wedding empty-handed? No cash wedding gift?" The whole circle burst into laughter. They chorused the same line, "It's just a game, relax." I smiled and nodded. "Great. Then I want in." Preston always whines that I'm too good. He has no idea I was never the good girl in the story. Every trick they're pulling is an old routine I retired years ago. Before we go any further, smash that subscribe button and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. Sterling Private Island, wind howling off the Atlantic. I stared at the white silk clinging to Leah's body and let the sarcasm drip. "Brought your own wedding gown? Looks like you've been planning this for a while." Leah froze, cheeks blotching under the bronzer. Preston exhaled, reached for my hand. Leah stepped between us, pouting. "You're such a buzzkill. Don't forget, I'm the bride today." She flicked his forehead. "Honestly, you're hopeless." Preston rubbed the bridge of his nose in mock surrender. Leah shot me a sideways smirk and swung his arm, her half-exposed breasts brushing his bicep every other second. I watched without blinking. Watched my own boyfriend flirt with another woman in full view of 40 guests. Only when my stare turned arctic did Preston realize how far they'd gone. He eased Leah off, cleared his throat. "Don't read into it. Leah and I are basically brothers." Even as he said it, their shoulders stayed glued together. The rest of the boys sensed frost in the air and rushed to referee. "Come on, only a dare. Leah Los. T the draw." She had to pick a guy to marry, they're best friends. Of course Preston stepped up. "If they wanted each other, you would have been history long ago." I didn't bother arguing. Pointless. Preston and Leah had sprinted past boundaries long before today. The birthday he bailed on because Leah's cat got lonely. The night he rolled off me mid-kiss to take her emergency call. The fever that hit 103, I texted him begging for aspirin and company. He answered, "Leah's going through a breakup, she needs me." "You're the future Vance, act like it." "It's just a fever." Every fight ended the same, he never changed. Now I wasn't fighting. I was choreographing the curtain call. I repeated, calm as tide water, "I get it. I just want to play." Awkwardness descended like fog. Someone snickered. "Seriously, Cecilia? You even know the rules?" Leah was blunter. "Sweet little things don't belong at our table. Go home and wait for this dummy to marry you." Then, in the tone of a mother-in-law from hell, she pointed a finger. "Preston is an amazing guy. If you don't treat him right after the wedding, I'll come for you." She drained her crystal flute in one gulp, swayed, and kissed him, full on the mouth. The crowd lost it. "Damn, Leah. That's how you own it." Preston's whole body locked. I saw his pupils flare over her shoulder, panic and confusion in equal measure, yet he didn't shove her away until her tongue slid out. Then he jerked back like he'd been tasered. "Cut it out. We're grown-ups." His voice was hoarse, laced with fondness. Leah punched his ribs. "Excuse me? This is my wedding day. Kissing my groom is allowed." She angled her head toward me, eyebrow cocked. "Don't sulk, cupcake. Preston and I are basically siblings. Can't take a joke?" Preston turned on me as if I were the toddler spoiling recess. Leah's arm stayed looped through his hand rested possessively over hers. To any camera, they were honeymooners. I pulled out a chair and sat. "Let's keep the evening rolling. Deal me in." Preston barked a laugh, tightening his grip on Leah's waist. "You really want to do this?" I ignored him and glanced at the boys who live for chaos. "Who's playing?" They swapped looks until Leah produced a fresh deck of cards. She shuffled with the snap of a Vegas dealer. "House rule, honor the bet. Step up, step heavy." Preston leaned back, king of the world smirk in place. "Last chance to fold, Cecilia. I don't feel like babysitting your tears." The guys erupted. "No way, if the lady wants chips, give her chips." "Yeah, Cecilia hardly ever parties with us, let's make it memorable." A gold Rolex hit the felt in front of Leah, then a diamond Mont Blanc, a stack of black chips, car keys to a McLaren, everyone betting against me. My side of the table, empty. Leah giggled until hiccups threatened. "Looks like no one trusts your luck, babe." I slid Eleanor's jade bracelet from my wrist and set it down. Leah's eyes lit like neon. She tugged Preston's sleeve. "That bangle will look insane against my tan, right?" He ruffled her hair. "You'll win it. Promise." And he was right, at first. I became the punchline the moment the river card fell. My flush never materialized. Leah's full boat scooped the pot. She reached across the felt, bracelet already slipping over her knuckles. Preston, how's it look? Beautiful, he answered, eyes still on me. I lowered my gaze before he could read the next chapter I'd already written. Before the second hand began, Preston warned me again. You're basically a beginner, you can't beat Leah. Back out while you still can. No. I was obstinate, playing the part of a jealous little girl to perfection. Clenching my teeth, I said, I'm keeping the game going. It looked as though Preston was sulking at me. He slid the ring off his finger and tossed it into the pot. My heart felt as if someone had crushed it in a fist, because that was our couple ring. Leah gasped theatrically. My God, Preston, you can truly bear to part with it? It's nothing special, just a ring, he replied, eyes locked on mine the whole time. My eyes stung. When he'd first given me the couple rings, he'd been all tender devotion. He'd held me tight and promised, I'll never take it off. I'll love Cecilia forever. I gave a bitter little laugh and pulled my own ring off. Preston's pupils contracted to pinpoints, his gaze fixed on me as if demanding to know why I was trampling on his feelings. When I spoke again, my voice was calm. All right, let's start. The second hand began. My cards were excellent this time, Leah's looked weak. Yet I still lost. She seemed to read my mind, countering every move precisely. And Preston, determined to teach me a lesson, was officially my partner but misplayed again and again with cards that could have crushed her, splitting pairs, feeding her low cards, or deliberately taking tricks I needed. Predictably, Leah won. She bounced up laughing. Ha! Both your couple rings are mine now. Preston laid his cards down with a flick, his tone light and mocking. Don't blame me, your card skills are hopeless. Told you to quit, but you wouldn't listen. See how ridiculous you look. Leah, delighted, rolled the two rings between her fingers. TSK, not that expensive, but the sentimental value is priceless. She smiled sweetly at me. Next round you'll have to ante something worthwhile, or the game's no fun. The crowd took up the chant, telling me to stake everything valuable on me. Don't be cheap, go big or go home. Yeah, Cecilia, you're the sterling heir, you're loaded. The richer they are, the stingier they get. Someone asked Preston if it pained him to watch me lose. He snorted. She deserves it, always picking fights with Leah. Leah played generous. If you can't bear to lose something to me, you can take a penalty, say, slap yourself 10 times. I can afford to lose, I shot back. New hand. I tossed in the brand new $1 million bag I'd bought that afternoon. No surprises. The moment I led the ace of spades, Preston covered it with the little joker. One of the onlookers protested, Preston, you're still partners with Cecilia, why keep eating her tricks? Shaky hand, he said, utterly uninterested. Everyone knew it was deliberate. Of course I lost again. Leah couldn't stop giggling. Cecilia, still in? Keep going and you'll lose the whole family fortune. Preston sounded magnanimous. All right, that's enough. My driver will take you home. But I was like a gambler on tilt, eyes bloodshot, stubborn and frantic. No. I keep playing. I'm winning back everything I lost. Preston was livid. For the next several hands I kept losing, Preston and Leah hunting me together, no chance at all. I grew more agitated, breathing ragged, truly tilted. Normally almost a teetotaler, I threw back drink after drink. I lost miserably, even tossing in the new yacht I'd just taken delivery of. Drunk and dizzy, eyes glazed yet wild, I could barely keep my trembling hand steady on the cards. Anyone could see I'd lost my mind. Next? I flung down a black card. 10 million in this account, deal. Leah lifted a brow, grin from ear to ear. Preston leapt up and seized my wrist. Have you finished making a scene? No. I bit my lip hard, tears shimmering. He drew a slow breath, voice softening. You're just trying to spite me, aren't you? Letting go, he lit a cigarette. In the curling smoke his eyes were a maze of emotions. I don't even know what you're throwing a tantrum about. Leah and I aren't really together, it was only a fake wedding. I'd never betray you. Trust me, Cecilia. Leah nodded cheerfully. Right, we're completely innocent. Then, switching tone, she added, oh, forget it. I can see you feel sorry for her, Preston. Take your good little fiancé home for her bottle. Laughter erupted around the table. Preston muttered a curse and sat back down. Leah looked at me, lips curved. Tell you what, Cecilia, let's make this hand interesting. Throw in that necklace around your neck, I've always liked it. I clutched the necklace protectively. Leah turned to Preston with a pitiful pout. Preston frowned at me, voice cold. Cecilia, put it in. No. You know exactly what this is. My mother's heirloom, he knew. Impatient, Preston cut me off. House rule, whoever wins 3 straight gets 1 demand from the loser. Honor the bet, Cecilia. I lifted my head sharply, tears spilling, but finally I unclasped the necklace, choking back sobs. Of course I lost again. I was numb now, eyes vacant. Preston himself fastened my mother's necklace around Leah's throat. Leah held my gaze the whole time, adding one last taunt, looking closely, it's really nothing special. My fists clenched so hard they ached. Another round was about to start. Leah, sweeping pot after pot, looked at me like I was the ultimate sucker. Cecilia, last hand, let's really raise the stakes. Dare you? I drained my crystal flute of wine, eyes bleary but locked on her. Preston started to object, but Leah pressed a hand on his arm. Preston, whose side are you on? You'd hurt me for her? Instantly his resolve melted. He sighed and stayed silent, his choice clear. He stood with Leah. Cheers broke out around us. Leah stared straight into my eyes. This hand, I stake every asset I own. The room went dead quiet. After a few seconds I answered, manic resolve flashing across my face. Fine, I match it. And this time, I'm the banker. Preston finally lost it, roaring at me, have you lost your mind? The terrace fell silent for a heartbeat, then rippled with sharp intakes of breath. I dragged in a lungful of salt-heavy air and stared him down. What's the matter, afraid I'll beat you? His brows slammed together, eyes flicking over me as if I were a stranger who'd just escaped a psych ward. In that instant he was certain I'd tipped over the edge. He clamped his jaw, then shoved every parcel of real estate he owned into the pot, an object lesson, he called it, so I'd learn respect. One by one the others followed, stacking beachfront villas, penthouse keys, yacht registrations, trust fund papers. To head off second thoughts we had corporate counsel helicoptered in, the lawyers landed, produced the wager contracts, and watched us sign. The deck of cards was placed in the center again. This time I was the banker. Everyone else sat opposite me. Cecilia, you'll regret this, Preston said, almost tender. Leah's shoulders shook with laughter, her gaze hungry as a wolf's. Little Cecilia, when you lose you'll be drinking the wind. Titters and jeers floated above the candles. I lowered my lashes. The last trace of champagne haze evaporated, leaving a sheet ice calm behind me. Deal already, Leah snapped. I snapped the first card out with a flick of my wrist. The real game began. Leah shot to her feet and slapped down a straight flush. Excitement twisted her face into something ugly. Look at that, Cecilia, you're dead. Preston lazily fanned 3 kings. Card after card they cooperated like practiced duet partners, burying the house, me, under a glittering avalanche of hearts and spades. They'd choreographed this duet long before the yacht left the dock. The crowd erupted. Easy money. No suspense at all. Sterling Princess is about to go broke, hilarious. Leah's grin threatened to split her cheeks. You're an idiot, Cecilia. You don't even know how you died. She reached for the wager contract. I caught her wrist. Game's still on. Stop fighting it, you can't win, Preston urged, lighting another cigarette, regarding me with pity usually reserved for stray kittens. Relax. The Vance family isn't short of cash, I can keep you. Leah squealed and kissed him noisily. Preston, you're my lucky star. You're right, poke Cecilia once and she'll tilt herself to death. I squeezed my final card until the edge bit my palm. So you two planned every insult. So what? Leah thrust her st out. I wanted you to know we were holding the wedding, so you'd choke on it. My gaze slid to Preston, he met it. Cecilia, you're so damn childish. His words were severed by the soft slap of my last card hitting the felt, king of spades. A modest scrap of ink that completed the royal sequence. I looked straight into Leah's widening eyes. Royal flush. I win. Silence fell over Sterling, so absolute the surf seemed to stop rolling. Leah's finger trembled as she pointed. You cheated, didn't you? I gave her my first genuine smile of the night. What, can't handle losing? Preston's eyes bulged. He lunged for the king of spades, stared at it, then jerked his stare back to me. Cecilia, how? Ignoring the hysterics, I turned to the Sterling legal attaché. Expedite the asset transfer. Understood, Mississippi. I nodded, satisfied. There were hundreds of billions on the table. Leah had been the most generous, she'd staked everything she owned. Preston wasn't far behind, every villa he kept in Riverdale, a dozen mansions whose worth could bankroll a small nation. The rest of the clique bled hard too. Leah came to as if from a nightmare, eyes bloodshot. You played us, you bitch. She lunged, claws aiming for my hair. I stepped aside in one fluid motion, momentum carried her face first into the sand. I looked down at her. Fun game? Under her venomous, ruined gaze I repeated softly, was it fun? They loved games, had always loved them. Preston and Leah flirted under the flag of just playing. If I complained, I became the buzzkill. Leah's wedding gown was streaked with grit, her veil skewed like a broken halo. Preston seized my wrist, voice shaking. This whole thing was a setup. You lost earlier on purpose to make us careless? Exactly, I said coldly. The moment I discovered their mock ceremony on my island, the plan had clicked into motion. A daughter who outmaneuvered a swarm of illegitimate half-brothers to seize the sterling throne was never to be soft. I had cared for Preston, once, but that affection stopped at the border of my own skin. My earlier tolerance? Simple strategy. I'd needed the title of future Vance while I cemented control. Now Charles was gone, the half-brothers dead, crippled, or exiled, defeated toys on a forgotten shelf. I gave a small shrug. What are you sulking about? When you painted me as a joke, did you imagine there'd be no punchline? Yes, I conned you, but you mailed me the invitation. Leah's shriek cracked across the terrace. No, no. If I lose everything, what happens to me? I won't be poor. Leah was not her family's heir, a half-brother sat above her. When her father died she'd received a comfortable block of shares and cash, until tonight. Now it was gone, and her brother hated her. The realization tore the last rag of sanity from her. She scrambled up, grabbing Preston's sleeve with sandy fingers. Preston, you have to help me. If my brother hears I lost everything he'll toss me out. What will I do? Preston could barely keep his own balance. Losing those Riverdale villas was a body blow. Once the board caught wind, a vote of no confidence loomed. Yet the neighbor he'd grown up pampering was sobbing at his feet, and old reflexes died hard. Cecilia, why not tear up the wager contract? It was only a game, no need to be ruthless. The spectators brightened, hope flickering in their eyes. Leah gained courage, she swiped at tears and muttered, if you void the deal I'll give back your mother's heirloom necklace. She reached for the clasp at her throat. I laughed out loud. Stop tugging. The necklace is a replica. Leah's fingers froze on the clasp, her eyes wide with disbelief. The instant it registered, she shrieked. You bitch, you tricked me. I stared at her, my smile thin and icy. Knowing tonight was a trap, why would I bring my mother's heirloom necklace? What I'd lost to Leah was a copy I'd had a jeweler whip up for $2,000. She yanked the I'm free and hurled it to the floor. Then, seeing how unruffled I remained, she swayed, so furious she looked ready to vomit. Preston's face was the color of wet ash. Through clenched teeth he demanded, I'm your fiancé, how could you set me up? Weren't you the one who set me up first? I waved the wager contract in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, honor the bet. I turned and walked away. Leah went berserk, lunging after me, but my bodyguard stepped between us. Behind me the room exploded. The same clique that used to party together tore into one another. Damn it, Leah, this is your fault, you pushed us and now we're ruined. I staked every share I owned. I'm finished. Someone lunged and slapped her. Leah crashed to the carpet in her wedding gown. More piled on, punching and kicking. The dress rode high, she clutched the hem while mascara ran down her cheeks like war paint. She screamed nonstop. Preston just watched, never lifting a finger, gaze glued to my retreating back. Back at Sterling I told the housekeeper to hang a brass plaque on the gate, Preston and dogs not admitted. After a shower I flicked through my phone, dozens of missed calls and texts, almost all from him. Pick up. Cecilia, stop this, we're getting married. Tell Sterling Legal to void the wager contract. I know you hate Leah, I'll cut her off, okay? I exhaled. There was no triumph in it. Had I won? In love, there are no winners. I remembered father's last words, Cecilia, you're a perfect heir, but people who insist on winning every chip always lose something, this life will keep taking from you. The phone still buzzed on the nightstand, his final messages already desperate, I was wrong. I'll do anything, just tell me what. You love me, right? We'll still marry, won't we? The board knows, they're staging a vote of no confidence. You have to help me. I laughed once, then blocked every trace of him, burying the good memories with the bad. Over breakfast my lawyer called. Sterling, we're CA. To logging the assets Leah and Preston wagered. I'll courier the first transfer documents tomorrow. My mouth curved. Good. I also heard Leah had been thrown out. The erstwhile princess was now astray, her brother barred her from taking even a suitcase. She begged Preston, who, drowning himself, rented her a shabby studio. She shrieked that he was cheap. He flushed livid. Don't like it? Leave. You blame me? She spat. You said Cecilia was too proud, you wanted her pulled off her throne, that's why you plotted to snatch her fortune. Without you I'd never be here. Preston seized her throat. Shut your mouth. A paparazzo filmed the whole thing. Uploaded, it detonated the internet overnight. Hashtag shock. Vance heir schemed against fiancé. Hashtag $1 billion poker bloodbath. Hashtag Cecilia the card queen. Wins 10 billion. Pot netizens flooded their Instagrams. Heard you lost 100 billion, could've just given it to me. Bro, rich folk really know how to play. I scrolled without feeling. They earned every lash. A week passed. During it, Preston's fair-weather entourage filed through Sterling, pleading, kneeling, even offering to kiss my shoes. I ignored them all. One afternoon the housekeeper announced, Miss, Theodore and Preston are at the gate. I could bar Preston, but Theodore had been grandfather's friend, for that old bond one owed courtesy. The plaque, Preston and dogs not admitted, gleamed in the sun. 5 minutes later I received them in the great hall. Theodore's back was still iron straight under white hair, yet exhaustion lined his eyes. Preston looked wrecked, once impeccable suit rumpled like he'd slept in it. Theodore spoke first. Child of the Sterling line, for the sake of two families' history, release Preston. You still share a betrothal, this ugliness stains both names. I offered him tea with both hands. Grandfather Theodore, while Preston was contracted to me, he flaunted a wedding with Leah and made me the city's laughingstock. Then, you never to LD him to stop. Theodore's cheeks twitched, anger and guilt mingling. Being corrected by a junior stung, so he sharpened his tongue. So domineering, just like your mother. No wonder Charles kept so many mistresses. My grip on the cup faltered for a heartbeat. Preston frowned, eyes flicking to my reddened lids. Grandfather, that's too far. Too far? She's destroying you and you defend her? His cane slammed marble. I set the cup down, cordiality was finished. Grandfather Theodore, I respect your age, do not forfeit respect to yours. Preston signed the wager contract freely. Is the Vance family saying it can't pay its debts? If you truly lack a better heir, I'll happily purchase enough shares to steady your ship. The air in the hall crackled. Preston stared at me in disbelief, hurt pooling in his eyes. Cecilia, how could you be so ruthless to me? That day, I was just drunk and got carried away. I never meant to actually marry Leah. I know I was wrong, His words tumbled over one another in a frantic confession, begging for my forgiveness. Theodore was considerably calmer. When the butler forcibly showed them out, Theodore glanced back at me. That single look was layered with resentment, fury, and displeasure. In the end he left only a sigh. Cecilia, you're even colder than your grandfather. Preston panicked. He'd assumed that trotting out his family patriarch would make me soften. He hadn't expected me to stay unyielding. Cecilia, don't be like this. I know I was wrong. Can we talk? I ignored him and told the bodyguards to throw everyone out. These belated regrets felt pale and powerless. Preston kept hounding me for a long time after that. After I blocked his main account, he created a swarm of throwaways to bombard me. I blocked and deleted each one. When he realized that was useless, he began camping outside my office or the manor day and night. My assistant came in to report, Sterling, he still refuses to leave. It's fine. Igno. Him. I kept my head down, flipping through documents. On the security monitor I could clearly see Preston standing in the rain, a wreck. Several times he tried to rush into the lobby, and each time building security stopped him. By then it was already autumn. He stood there getting drenched all day, finally collapsing when I left work. I contacted the Vance family to take him home. That night I received a text from an unknown number. Do you still love me? No. I texted back. After that, Preston became noticeably quieter. Word reached me that the board had indeed voted no confidence and stripped him of his position. The next time I saw him was on the cover of a gossip weekly. The headline photo showed Preston dead drunk in a bar, his face haggard. The irony? The waitress pouring his drink was Leah. She wore an ill-fitting uniform, carrying her tray with a numb expression as she threaded between tables. My assistant rushed in, Sterling, Vance is back. He says if you refuse to see him he'll bash his head in on the pavement downstairs. I felt a vain throb in my temple. Where had Preston learned this guilt-trip suicide threat routine? In the end I agreed to meet him. Corpses in the lobby are bad for business. Preston stood at the floor-to-ceiling window. Hearing footsteps, he spun around. The moment I saw him I was shocked. The change was drastic. Sunken eyes, unshaven stubble, his expensive suit wrinkled, every inch of him deflated. Cecilia, you're finally willing to see me. His voice trembled. I gave a slight nod, gaze icy. If you're here about the wager contract, go home. I won't agree. Preston choked, humiliation and unwillingness flashing across his face. Suddenly he gave a bitter laugh. I came to apologize. I know I did a lot wrong lately, but Cecilia, you're the one in my heart. Leah is just a very close friend. He took 2 eager steps forward. Can you look at the history we share? I laughed so hard I cut him off. History? Every time why? Oh, you abandoned me for Leah. Did that history cross your mind? When you held your wedding with her and turned me into a laughingstock, where was that history? Each word a needle. Preston's face went bloodless. His thin frame swayed as he blurted out desperate excuses. No, it's all a misunderstanding. I admit I crossed lines for her, but there was never anything romantic. I just instinctively look after her. Cecilia, you're the only woman I've ever wanted to spend my life with. I stepped closer, eyes sharp. Really? That's how you love? Then your love is dirt cheap. Shock and panic flooded his face. He tried to explain again. I cut him off once more. Preston, you're nothing but a mediocre, garden variety opportunist. You wanted Leah's flirty brightness and you wanted the stability and career boost I gave you. You got greedy. Preston broke. He clutched his hair, racked with remorse and despair. No, it's not like that. I love you. I never intended to give you up. I just lost control of the boundaries. To me she's only bro code. I didn't bother continuing. If he insisted on lying to himself, there was nothing I could do. I turned, took the folder my assistant held out, and handed it to him. Sign. On the cover were 4 bold words, annulment. Preston's pupils quivered, tears finally spilled. He staggered back several steps, slumped against the wall, and slid to the floor. Covering his eyes with both hands, he let out a guttural sob of utter anguish. I watched without an ounce of pity. He'd earned every bit of it. Before I left I looked back and spoke, every syllable clear. Preston, honor the bet. From the corner of my eye I saw his shoulders jerk violently. At last my world was quiet. In the end Preston signed the papers and publicly annulled our engagement. He also posted an online admission of his boundary-crossing behavior. The backlash shredded both him and Leah. WTF, engaged and still flirting, disgusting. They got exactly what EY deserved. Queen Cecilia. Modern woman who can love and let go, so badass. Leah was fired from the bar. Wherever she went people pointed and called her a homewrecker. Word was she went looking for Preston. He rejected her again, mocking her viciously. The 2 of them traded the cruelest insults they could muster right on the street, and ended up brawling. Leah was no match for Preston. When the police arrived she was barely recognizable. She was rushed to the ER, Preston was arrested. After that fiasco Theodore finally washed his hands of his grandson, deeming him too emotional and useless. Preston was completely out of the game. I stood at the window listening to my assistant's report. Sterling, the Vance family has brought the illegitimate half-brother home to groom as the new heir. I nodded, fingertips sliding across the screen. Without hesitation I deleted the last photo of Preston and me. The world outside the glass was still dazzling. The life ahead of me would be just as brilliant. My era of glory has only just begun. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you liked this video, please like and share it with friends. We look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. See you next time.